guys, happy Wednesday, and pretty excited right now. GetMoreSports.com, one of the coolest websites, one of the coolest places to go if you are into sports gambling, and we're all degenerates. That's why you're watching this. It's GetMoreSports.com, and joining us is probably one of the lead degenerates there on the website. Some great stuff. Adam Green, he joins us on Twitter, @TheFirstMan. Make sure you guys check him out. And Adam, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us for a few minutes here, man.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Well, first thing I want to ask you is, because you guys have some great information on the site, but one of the very strange things about this year, and I don't know that Vegas is absolutely caught up to it yet, is the historic amount of scoring that we're getting in the NFL through 6 weeks of this season. And if you've been betting the overs, you've been doing pretty damn well so far. It just doesn't seem like Vegas has caught up yet with what's going on with all the scoring. Have you noticed that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole September is always an odd time anyway in NFL. Things, you'll have teams that look good that fall off the face of the earth, and you'll have the teams that look bad, like the Steelers and the Patriots, who now, 2 weeks into October, everything looks okay. With those guys. Mm-hmm. So, and of course, you got the new rules with as far as protecting the quarterback, and we saw that show up in the Sunday night game where the Chiefs, that Breland Speaks, had Tom Brady wrapped up, could have sacked him, but he let him go. Brady was going to hurt him. Brady was going to get a flag, and Brady ends up running in for a touchdown. So, I don't think the defenses and the defensive coordinators have kind of caught up to the rule changes. Even there's others besides that, of course. I think that's one issue. And the other issue is it's just the quarterbacking, the offensive play calling is just better than it's been in a long time. And you look at, I think it was last week, not even this last weekend, before, there were already more 400-yard passing games this year than there were all the way through like 1970 through 79 combined. And, that's an insane stat.
And you bring up a good point, too, because the NFL is a coaching league. The NBA, it's all about stars. The more stars you have, the better off you are. But you can't pull that off in the NFL without the proper coaching. And without a good quarterback, you're kind of screwed. And then when you kind of levy all those rules in order to handcuff the defense, and you've got a whole new crop of young quarterbacks coming into a league, and you still got the old-timers like Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady, man, there's some points to be scored in this NFL. And the lines, week 11, I think it is, week 11 or week 13, we're going to have Kansas City and the Rams. What the hell is the over going to be in that game, 80?
I don't know how high. I don't know how it could be, because, and the thing is, I think they kind of hedge low always, even in a game like that. But I don't know what, we're looking at, unless something insane happens with the Rams defense, or Justin Houston comes back from injury here in Kansas City and, starts piling up sacks constantly. That's a 45-40 game. So anything, that it would have to be 80. It may be the highest. I don't know what the highest over-under ever, but 80 does not seem ridiculous to me. Does it seem ridiculous to you?
Not in this year. Not in 2018 with this NFL anymore. It is completely changed. Adam Green joining us. GetMoreSports.com. That is where you can find him. Some great stuff there. And quickly, Adam, just tell us for the viewers and for the listeners who don't or haven't heard of GetMoreSports.com, what would you tell them it is?
Well, we're a sports and entertainment website. It's mainly geared towards sports betting. But we try to make it fun. It's not just the information. We try to make it fun and funny. Glenn and Chris Gronkowski, they have articles there, and they have a pretty funny podcast. Mama G and Rob were on it with them last week, and it's trying to deliver you the information, the real picks, but also in an entertaining way. And I'm personally, I try to make it as funny as possible. I don't know how successful I always am, but I try to throw some jokes in there when possible.
Listen, it's all about information, and knowledge is power. Certainly, when it comes to betting on sports, and with more and more states, New Mexico is the latest to go ahead and legalize sports betting. We're going to see it in a couple of more states before the end of the year, and then next year it's going to be wide open. How much of the sports betting do you contribute to the rating success this year of the NFL? I mean, how much? I know people are pointing to the scoring, and all of that is good, though. But how much would you consider people actually having $5, $2, $100, or $1,000 on a game? How much of the legalization of sports betting right now is causing the ratings to go through the roof, you think?
You know, that's an interesting question. It definitely doesn't hurt, and especially the more avenues you have, especially online like BetDSI and places like that, it makes it. I mean, you live in, Tennessee, which will be the last state that's ever going to legalize anything.
No. Wait a minute. No, we're going to beat you here. We're going to beat you here in Florida. We got Disney. Okay, so Disney will spend every last cent they have not to give us gambling here. So we got you beat there, Adam.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to argue anything Florida. If Florida says they're going to do it or not do it, I'm going to believe it. I believe anything that comes out of Florida.
I love it. But it's playing a role.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be, and because it's fun, and it's not just with betting against the spread and stuff. Daily fantasy obviously is a huge thing that's happening. Everything. I mean, even back in the 80s when fantasy football started, anything that adds another avenue, another fun thing to do besides just watching already a very entertaining sport, it's just going to add to the interest. And what's great about betting is everybody's got the favorite team, but when you bet and a team makes you money, then you get to have another favorite team. I can imagine the Kansas City Chiefs probably have a lot of new fans over the first month of the season. And the Los Angeles Rams, another team, a lot of new fans.
Amen to that.
Just because it's fattening that wallet up.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily matter whether or not your favorite team wins. It just matters if they cover, and that really is what it's coming down to. And a lot of people are starting to get that. And the diehards of one team or another try to avoid betting on those games whatsoever because they're kind of torn, and sometimes you can't see the forest from the trees. And the diehards, stay away from your favorite teams, man. Go bet Stony Brook and Elon or something. Just stay away from any of your favorite teams. It's not a recipe for success. Adam Green joining us, getmoresports.com. One of your articles that you have on the site, which is great each and every week, is you talk about underdogs, and you point out some of the more intriguing underdog matchups, and when the spreads come out, you write a pretty good article over there. What have you seen thus far? So with the lines, what are the underdogs this week you're looking at?
Well, this week, I tell you, it's a Thursday night. The Cardinals are a 1.5 dog with the Broncos, and that's a very intriguing game to me. It's, of course, in Arizona. David Johnson has yet to break out, and that Denver Broncos defense has given up like 200 yards early last week. It was like 160 the week before. The Cardinals should be able to run the ball. They should be. Josh Rosen, the receivers they've got, they've been improving on offense. Had a really good game last week against the 49ers. At 1.5 points, that's almost the pick 'em. That's who you think is going to win. The Broncos, what have they shown you on offense? What have they shown you that they can do? So that's a very intriguing game to me right there.
I love that.
As far as that, not a huge underdog. But it's definitely the Colts and the Bills, 7.5 right now for the Colts, -7.5. That one, to me, the Colts have underperformed. Andrew Luck is on pace to throw like 1,000 passes, set an all-new NFL attempts record this year. The Bills, as bad as they are, have been competitive. I don't hate Derek Anderson getting the start this week for them, especially over Nathan Peterman. I'm about to call him Naked Peterman. Nathan Peterman.
Listen, don't make fun of him. He makes it very fun to watch, man. He makes it very fun to watch, even if you're a Bills fan.
His interception rate is historic. He's actually they ran an article or stat line about players that aren't quarterbacks, that throw like halfback passes, wide receiver passes. He has a worse interception rate than non-quarterbacks. It's not even quarterbacks. For running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, like the trick plays to Nick Foles, all that stuff. He has a poorer interception rate than those guys who aren't supposed to throw the ball. So,
but you know what? They have a championship defense. To your point, though, they've got
that's it.
They have a defense, and if they can get even so much as some mediocre play from any quarterback at this point, including the 100-year-old Derek Anderson, they're going to be in the game, and really that's all you can ask for. And when you get that key number of 7, and right now you're talking about 7.5, as good as Andrew Luck has been, they're basically a hospital ward on the football field. That nobody's gotten more injury bugs than they have, but that also is a game that don't discount the Buffalo Bills defense. They're going to keep them in games even when they probably shouldn't be.
Well, if I remember, I think they've been 10-point dogs the last 2 weeks, and they've covered both weeks.
That's correct.
I mean, they beat that both weeks.
Yep.
So if you got to look at trends, you got to look at who they're playing. I mean, the Colts defense can't stop anybody. I mean, this could be it's one to definitely look at for sure.
I love
because that is too large a spread.
Yep, and again you can check
the
it
other
out.
One,
GetMoreSports.com. Just want to let people know, Adam Green, GetMoreSports.com. You usually come out with the underdog picks. You do this. I think they post them on Thursday. Adam, is that correct?
They do.
Okay, so they get them on Thursday
when they go up.
You'll be able to get them up tomorrow, but you've got Arizona you like in Denver. You've got the Bills are getting 7.5, Indianapolis, and what's your third game you like?
San Francisco 49ers at Los Angeles Rams. That's a 10-point spread there. And the 49ers have put up points, and the Rams, especially on the back end of that defense, haven't consistently been – people can get behind them. Emmanuel Sanders got behind them last week where Aqib Talib's out. Kyle Shanahan is one of those guys that's able to put up points regardless. Seems like whoever he's playing at quarterback. And, the Rams, I mean, if they win this one 35-30, they're fine. But if you bet on the Rams to cover 10 points, you're not fine. And the 49ers especially, too, are dangerous for garbage time spread-killing points, which is what happened last week, I think, with the Rams and the Broncos.
And I think
you had the Rams were up 20-3. And they're done. They're in the cold. It's 29 degrees. Nobody can breathe in Mile High. They want out of town. They don't care if Denver makes it close. Realistically, it was over. And it ended up 23-20 was the final score. This is one of those that could be, like I said, 35-30, based on the Rams getting up 35-14 beginning of the fourth quarter and just kind of shutting it down. And the 49ers start loading things up. 10 points. I'm not sure how many of these 10-point spreads have survived this year. I don't know if many have. I would guess way fewer than have covered 10 points than have not.
Those double-digit spreads are, they're becoming less and less, and Vegas is eventually going to catch up with what's going on here. But to the 49ers, to your point about the 49ers, and we've been screaming about this the last couple of weeks here, but a lot of people thought that once Garoppolo went down, the drop-off between Garoppolo and C.J. Beathard was enormous, and the numbers told us all otherwise, that you weren't getting the name, you weren't getting CJ, but you weren't getting a guy that was dating porn stars, but you know what? You were getting a guy that was throwing up 400 yards of offense a week, and nobody was talking about him. So it wasn't that surprising to see the effort that they put forth on the road in Lambeau Field, because CJ Beathard can flat out throw the damn ball. Plus you got, again, go back to coaching. You've got yourself, Kyle Shanahan, who can coach with the best of them. He can make, a really, even an average quarterback can seem a lot better with that kind of offense. He's done it in the past. And, man, do not sleep on CJ Beathard in fantasy and this team is going to be playing from behind a lot. So if it wasn't for the injuries for the 49ers, I'm kind of with you, Ad. I think they've at least 2 or 3 extra wins this year that they don't, unfortunately, because the defense is real, but they've been decimated by injuries. But don't sleep on CJ Beathard at all.
Absolutely. And here's a little, if you want to put a little mojo on it, a little for whatever reason, things work this way. The Rams have started 6-0, I think, 3 or 4 times in their history. They've never gone 7-0.
Damn. Look at you throwing out nuggets like that, man. Just going to confuse people ripping up tickets right now because of you, Adam Green. God damn, people ripping them up, man. GetMoreSports.com. That is how you see him every Thursday. Adam, go ahead, and he'll post his favorite underdogs of the week. Some great stuff. You also do a tremendous job during the week of posting all the bad beats from the week before, just making people who lost their ass feel so much better about themselves, and I love that about you. You really just know how to stick it to people, and it's been a very, and I don't want to say, I mean, bad beats are bad beats, but, man, there have been really through the first 6 weeks of the NFL, there have been some situations where bettors are just, they're still crying over what happened.
Oh, the Cincinnati-Atlanta Falcons ending. That one is an all-timer. That one, the spread was Falcons -4.
Mm-hmm.
They drive down, they get a field goal, they go up 5. That means Cincinnati has to get a touchdown. That means if you bet on the Falcons, you're fine. You've got a point to spare.
Mm-hmm.
You know they're not going to kick a field goal. They have to go for a touchdown. Now, granted, Cincinnati's had a good has a good offense, but to get a touchdown in whatever it was, 1 minute and 30-something seconds is almost should be impossible. And the way that the Falcons played defense on that drive, A.J. Green could not have been more wide open. He could have been sitting in the corner of the end zone in a lawn chair, with like a coconut drink. The way they were playing. How do you play shallow? How do your safety and corner both play shallow? And literally that whole entire corner of, like, you get kicked out of your Madden league if you call that defense. And I can only imagine you've bet on the Falcons. You feel perfectly fine. Like I said, they've got like the freakish thing that would happen. I didn't look at the metrics and all the winning percentage, but it had to be something like 9% chance when Cincinnati took the ball and started over. Had to go and to win. And for A.J. Green, the one guy, the best guy. Like the one guy's like, we have to do something about A.J. Green. Who else is going to, and to just, like, nobody on him. Just completely, like, we're playing zone, but we're playing, like, shallow, and we're just going to let him have this whole end of the end zone. He's going to build a house, like one of those it's the new tiny houses. It's sweeping the nation.
And you got Dan Quinn as a head coach there, too. I mean, you're talking about a defensive-minded Super Bowl head coach there, and to allow that to happen. And we're talking Andy Dalton here, people, who notoriously over the years on the road in that situation, Andy Dalton is not the quarterback that is not even in the top 10 that you would go, all right, I got 1:20 left. I need to drive down and score a touchdown. Andy Dalton's not even coming up in the conversation, and he basically shredded them. And you're right. And those that were holding tickets for the Atlanta Falcons, they did it to him again. But very disappointing year. And I want to know from you, Adam, who I know the lines are out, and you can get them certainly BetDSI. If you guys head over to GetMoreSports.com, they've got all the information there, how you can set up and check out the lines, the live lines. But if you had to guess, Adam, who's the first coach to get fired this year?
Oh, that is a great question. In the preseason, it would have been Dirk Cutter. 100%.
Okay.
But Ryan Fitzpatrick saved his job at least until Christmas. So, that is a great question. I'm going to say if I had to guess today, Bill O'Brien, Houston Texans.
Ooh.
I mean, he's a dead man walking, and I just feel like that so many things have to go right for him to keep that job. Even though they've won 3 straight, which that's still a big, but it's the AFC South is garbage. Nobody's impressed by what they're doing. That game with them and the Cowboys was just a competition. Who's going to lose it first between he and Jason Garrett? And Garrett would be my second choice. And the only reason I wouldn't say Garrett is because Jerry Jones is so pig-headed and obstinate. I just feel like he'll at least wait till the end of the season to fire Jason Garrett. O'Brien. I don't feel comfortable with him. I would not I would not start stocking up on Christmas presents if I were him. I would think more in moving van territory.
I agree with you there. You can't be an offensive guru supposedly and not be able to score in the red zone, and they haven't been able to score in the red zone, the Houston Texans. It's been a big problem. You're not firing Gruden after giving him a $100 million contract. They are going to let him do whatever he wants with that team, even though he thinks it's hot tub time machine. Let's roll it back to 1998 with all those players. It's not going to work, but it ain't going to cost him his job just yet. He's got to they're letting him do the whole reboot into Vegas, so he's going to be there for a while. But Dirk Cutter, as you mentioned, was another guess up there, but Fitzmagic ended up probably saving his job, and I got to agree with you. I think Bill O'Brien is definitely going to be one of those guys that you got to keep an eye on, unless, of course, things go hard left for a few other coaches. But like Adam Gase here in Miami, but even he's making chocolate shakes here out of absolutely nothing. It's amazing what he's done here.
Absolutely.
So it really is. It's been very interesting, and it's going to be even more interesting to see how all of this rolls. And let us not forget that what they're doing in Denver, and I don't know how that guy still has a head coaching job either, but I would anticipate that maybe the time is also near for the entire Denver Broncos coaching staff, because I don't know how much more Elway is going to tolerate that kind of play, especially from the defense.
I agree, and the whole problem with that is there are guys that I feel that, like Vance Joseph is going to get fired.
Yeah.
Jason Garrett is going to get fired. These guys, they're going to get fired. It's just to fire a guy in the season is such a hard call. And these GMs, especially a guy like Elway and, of course, Jerry Jones in Dallas, we don't even need to mention him. Their egos are so involved in it, and the big part of the quarterback issue in Denver is John Elway. That's not Vance Joseph. That's John Elway. That's who he's picking. That's who he's signing as free agents. And that's the problem. There, you look at Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, the running backs Denver has, the defense they still put on the field. That is a team that should still be in the mix. It's the quarterback is the problem, and he's the guy that's got to fix that. The GM has got to fix it.
Yeah, well,
so
we know the Case Keenum. He ain't the answer, Case Keenum. I mean, how much longer? How much longer before you start throwing Chad Kelly in there? We know he's got the DNA, but you got to see what that kid's got. If you held on to him over Paxton Lynch, at some point you got to see what this kid's got.
I agree, and you saw the fans. I think Keenum, poor dude, was in concussion protocol. Yeah. They sent Kelly out to just take a knee, and the fans just went nuts. As loud as the fans got in Denver. Yeah. That was the quietest that stadium's ever been until that moment.
Yeah, Case Keenum will be with
come out and take a knee.
Case Keenum will be with the Giants next year, back with Pat Shurmur. It's the only guy that made him look like a quarterback anyway. So what a difference a year makes. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Back to the whole coaching thing. Adam Green, GetMoreSports.com. Make sure you guys head over there tomorrow. The articles come out. Look at the underdogs, and of course, follow the bad beats. Laugh your ass off. It's always better. You always feel better about yourself when you realize how many other people lost their ass in the worst ways humanly possible. And Adam does a great job of actually documenting that. Make sure you check it out. GetMoreSports.com. All the information. BetDSI. You have all the stuff there. Live odds. Really great website. I can't thank you enough, Adam, for taking a few minutes out. I know you're in Tennessee. Does UT have another ass victory coming out, and a total underdog situation coming out anytime soon?
Last week, I would have if I was like Auburn's president and athletic director, I would have had parked security in front of the locker room, and I would have not have let a single coach back in the facility after that. That was the craziest thing, because it wasn't like in Tennessee, it's all we're always just however shitty the last coach was. We just have to compare him to.
Right.
And of course, Butch Jones was terrible, and his signature win was that Hail Mary pass against Georgia a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. This one, Tennessee owned this game from the start. Tennessee won this game. It wasn't some fluke play, nothing like that. Auburn should be just absolutely ashamed and devastated that happened.
Yeah, Gus Malzahn.
If they can keep it within 2 touchdowns of Alabama, that will be an incredible coaching and team-wide performance. And that's kind of the goal. That's you talk about there's no moral victories. I disagree when you're a Tennessee fan.
Yeah.
14-point loss to Alabama at this point is a moral victory I will take.
Hell yeah. Keep it under 80 points. You have already won. Adam Green, getmoresports.com. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter as well, @TheFirstMan. Adam, I look forward to doing this again, man. I thank you for taking a few minutes out, hanging out with us. This was fun. We'll do it again.
All right, man. Thank you.